Welcome to Influence Matters. I'm your host, Clara Rose. Each week, we talk about crafting your message and other matters of influence, or I bring on a special guest who's doing something interesting or unique in the marketplace. And I think you might find it interesting. And so I have a guest on the show sometimes. But either way, if you are building a business, ministry, cause, or brand, you are in the right place, my friend. Now, today I do have a special guest who's doing something interesting that I think you're going to want to hear about. Let me tell you about her really quickly. So she calls herself a manifesting mentor. So we're going to learn more about what that means. She is a multi-business entrepreneur. So you know she's a woman after my own heart. She's a powerhouse community builder who helps soul-led women create wealth and success without the burnout. So important. With a seven-figure real estate portfolio and 15 plus years of business experience, she blends strategy, spirituality, and subconscious work to guide women into alignment and abundance. She is a creator of retreats, programs, and curated communities where women in business rise together through real connection, support, and sisterhood. Please help me welcome Morgan Hammer. Are you with me, Morgan? There you are, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's totally my pleasure. So, first of all, just tell the audience what it is you do, right? Because you have a lot of really amazing things on your resume, but what do you really do?
At the foundation of what I do is I empower women with the techniques that they can apply to do some of the mindset work and heal and level up while simultaneously growing their business. So I like to put both the mindset piece, the manifesting, the spirituality components into success, because I think that we have for so long thought that to be successful meant working really hard and hustling and forcing and all of this. And yes, it might create some success, but that isn't going to be the formula to create your most thriving business and live your best life. So I'm all about debunking the need to hustle and also helping women get to the root of what it is that keeps them in this like spiral of overworking and overgiving and not setting enough boundaries and not really like claiming what it is that they really want in this life. So I especially love to work with women in business who are aspiring entrepreneurs or beginning entrepreneurs, because we all have a lot of things in common, and I really want to help people not have to go through all of the headaches and the BS that I went through starting my own businesses. So I have packaged everything that I have learned and applied to have the success, the soul level success that I've had in my own life. And I help empower women with those same tools and resources through group programs and through hosting retreats, and then also leading communities of women business owners.
So, tell us because people are it feels very woo-woo-y, right? When people say manifest, it conjures up all sorts of different things in different people's minds. So when you say I'm a manifest mentor, what does that mean? How do we manifest things, right? What are you talking about?
I love that you mentioned that, because I really am not from the woo. Like I don't know anything about astrology. I've done a few yoga classes. I don't know anything about crystals and moon cycles and any of that kind of thing. I really came to manifesting from the lens of a researcher, as a scientist, as a detective. I really was motivated to have success in my life, and I went the logical path, which is work hard and get certifications and
Mhm.
overperform until you get some kind of validation via money and credentials and whatnot. But that's unsustainable. That's unsustainable. That
Mhm.
wasn't yielding the desired results of living my best life and making money doing it. And so that's how I fell into manifesting, because there is a spiritual aspect to success. What I mean by the spiritual access, or I'm sorry, what I mean by the spiritual piece is that we aren't called to do something for no reason. The things that we're passionate about, the things that we're interested in, the things that we can't feel satisfied or fulfilled unless we are doing those things, like that is connected to your purpose. And whether you want to believe that it's God, like in the Christian sense, or some of the people in the more woo woo realm will say universe or that kind of language, it doesn't really matter what you call it. It's just about like believing that there's a purpose behind your existence and your callings, and then believing that there's something greater than you behind it all, so that you can start to think bigger and create space to channel those intuitive downloads, that guidance, those resources that are not from just you and your limited scope of understanding from your past experiences and your brain. Our brains are only
Mm-hmm.
able to do so much. We can only build and create based on our own past experiences. And this is where the spiritual component is. This is where the manifesting comes in. It's like co-creating with a power greater than yourself to
Yes.
have these big up levels and have that more fulfilling, like soul-led success.
For sure. For sure. I love that you brought that you made space for it to be about God, because of course, as a faith led person myself, I totally align with that idea that I was created in a specific way, right? With a specific purpose. And whether you call it, God, or you call it something else, is, your own personal thing. But for me, it's very much about understanding this is the way God created me, right? I'm only happy if I'm creating things, because that's the way he created me, right? And I have conversations with people and my brain starts, trying to figure out, I'm trying to create their stuff, right? Because that's the way I'm wired. That's the way God created me. So that's so cool that you actually recognized that, because you're a lot younger than I am. Yeah, I'm not sure how old you are, but I'm going to guess that my children might be older than you, right? Because you're a young lady, right? Um, I'm 60 now, so I have a lot more life experience than you do. But recognizing that at a younger, I wish that I would have recognized as a younger woman that, hey, I'm not crazy, or, squirrel, right? I'm actually just a creative, and I was designed this way. And then learning to harness that in my businesses has been a journey. So I love that you have not only recognized it, but you have a process by which you help other women get there as well, make that leap as well. So,
Yes.
talk to me a little bit about your. You said you had group coaching and you had um, communities, and what. So, I'm super interested in the community part, because I think that we all were created to need community as well, right? So, what do you do with communities? That interests me.
So I just completed the last round of my magnetism and money masterclass. This is a 3-month group
Oh,
program
okay.
where we meet weekly, and this is by far my favorite because of the
Mm,
community aspect. There tends to be
mhm,
about five women at a time who go through this curriculum. We really go deep on what are the inner beliefs, what are the stories, what are the things
mm,
that are inside of us that are preventing us from manifesting things externally that are aligned. And a lot of this work really is about getting clear on who you are, what your truth is, what
mm,
your authentic vision is, what your authentic passions are, your core values, and then building a life through that formula, through that framework of
mm,
being true to you. And it's a lot easier said than done. As you
mm.
mentioned, it takes it
Yeah.
takes it takes a lot of honesty and vulnerability to look under the
Mm,
hood and realize, oh, the things that have been running the show in my subconscious mind
mhm.
are um not necessarily like pretty. For example,
Right.
you've been taught you had a lot of people have resistance to looking under the hood, and especially
Mhm,
looking at some of the hardships or the programming that we were taught as kids growing up by our parents, our caregivers. Like, this is what programs our adult behaviors, our subconscious
Mhm.
imprints. And a lot of people have resistance to looking under the hood, admitting that their parents weren't perfect, even though they tried and that kind of thing. Like that will
Uh,
stop
right.
people dead on. And when you do it in community within a safe place, it makes it a lot easier. And people realize they're not alone and that they're
Mhm.
not crazy and that kind of thing. But then also as we get to know each other's authenticity and values and whatnot,
Mhm.
we're able to help keep each other accountable to stay true to those things, because that is what makes you magnetic as a woman in business who's trying to manifest, especially when it comes to money and success. So does that answer your
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, I think yeah, it does actually.
But I
I'm
do
a
that with
part of
retreats.
several
Oh, sorry, go
several
ahead.
groups, so I asked about that specifically because I love the community aspect. And I suppose a retreat is another form of community. Now, are these people who are coming out of your other communities into a retreat, or are they meeting for the first time at the retreat?
Um, it's generally I
Mm.
strategically plan retreats where I partner with other women thought leaders or
Ah,
business owners so
okay.
that it's not just my community. I like to
Mm,
blend and bring people together that I know I suspect are going to mesh well. So I'm very,
mhm,
very intentional about not doing it alone. Like I love
mm,
to collaborate and create things that are greater than the sum of their parts. And I've had great success with doing that. And it helps us delegate the responsibilities and come up with big
sure.
ideas. And also helps the women who attend the retreats build their network and make new connections and new friends
Mhm,
as well.
mhm. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I actually am doing a retreat this fall for the first time, um, and I'm doing it collaboratively. Phew, there's a big word today with somebody else who does around fear, right? Because I help people write their book, right? You don't often understand when you start writing a book for the first time or thinking about your book, there's some underlying fear that comes up, right? Because
Mhm.
it's very vulnerable. You're putting your words out to the world. Sometimes you're telling stories that are very personal or experiences that are personal, or there's just some fear. So it made sense to collaborate with someone who that's what she does, right? She helps women with confidence and overcome fears. I'm like, this is a great retreat to do together. I'm going to talk about, let's get your book done. And she's going to talk about, as you do this, you may discover how scary this is, right?
And that's
Because you're
exactly
going to
the
come up
same
against
approach.
that. Mhm.
Exactly, yes, and that is the exact same approach that I take with the women that I work with. It's like we do the mindset stuff. We're gonna break through whatever limitations come up as you're building your business, because there's imposter syndrome that comes up. There is putting yourself out there, the fears of being seen that come up. There's all these things that you're not even going to realize are within you, stories, programming, beliefs, that kind of thing, until you start to do things differently by creating the business that your dream business. Does that
Yeah.
resonate with you?
Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely true. It's the same thing happens when you're working on your book, right? Working on your business, working on your book. Same thing. You as you start to dig into stuff, you come up against things that you didn't realize you thought or you believed, right? So then you have to say, okay, why am I feeling this way about whatever it is? And often it's around, money and things that you believe, your core values, things that you didn't know that you believed, but you just believe until you confront them and go, oh, I believe whatever. And then why do I believe that? Right? Was it
Mhm.
that my parents told me that? My grandparents told me that? Did I, you know, when I, here's a great example. When I was growing up, I was super talkative, right? Super talkative. So every report card ever, you know, Clara over communicates. Clara, talks too much in class. Clara, we have to set her near the front so we can keep her focused. She's a bit all over the place, right? And so I grew up believing, oh, I'm a bit of a scatterbrain. I'm kind of all over the place, right? So until you get to a place in your life where you realize, okay, yes, I'm a communicator for sure, but I'm not all over the place. Actually, I'm intelligent, I'm highly creative, my brain just functions differently in that way, and then you can embrace it and lean into it and go, "Oh, I'm not crazy, right? I'm not whatever.
Too
I'm
much.
this other person." Yeah, I'm not too much. I'm not over the top. It's just I'm wired differently. I think differently, so I behave differently. So that I think is such an important piece in what you do, that digging deep and saying, what is the underlying thought process or beliefs that are you're coming up against, right? And people don't recognize those often on their own, I don't think.
Yes, exactly. And, I think to the community aspect just really means a lot because also, and I'm sure this happens with people who decide to write their own books, um, you get on an island and you start to spiral really fast when you're trying to do it all on your own. And when a
Mhm,
lot of people have these subconscious beliefs that community isn't safe, collaboration isn't safe because
mm,
they've had relationships that burned them in their formative years, or they weren't getting the same like level of care and safety that they needed from a primary caregiver. And it's not at the fault of the caregiver, they did the best they could, but it just didn't program your sense of maybe worthiness of being loved, or it didn't program that it's safe to depend on others when your primary caregiver wasn't consistent with you. And so that manifests in adulthood, and it tends to be very common with solopreneur or just
mhm,
soul-led women in business. We tend to know that we can figure it out, and we have the
mhm,
confidence in our skills, but then what happens is we don't know what we don't know, we go out into business,
mhm.
and then we're on our island spinning
Right.
in circles and not being productive. So one of
Mhm,
when you do join a community, it's also healing some of those wounds around safety in relationships.
mhm,
And
mhm,
from the manifesting perspective, from my experience, some of the biggest breakthroughs and also the loudest um, voices of God really do come through others. It's like being at the
mhm,
right place at the
mhm,
right time, connecting with the right person. And if you are still being driven by this, like, I've got to do it all on my own or whatever, like
mhm,
subconscious beliefs that keep you on your island, you're blocking a lot of blessings because relationships and
mhm,
community are where a large majority tend to manifest.
mhm. Yep. I totally agree with that. I this every year I do something, but this year I'm in the Elite Mastermind with Brooke Thomas, and it's there's I think 60, 55 or 60 of us, but it's a very high level mastermind. Costs money to be there and it's intense, right? We spend a lot of time together. But on our call yesterday, one of the ladies, now we're July, so we've been at it for 6 months or better, right? Together every week, showing up. We've had retreats. So we've built some relationship equity that happens like over time, right? Versus, something where you just meet someone. But one of the ladies spoke up and said, we're talking about sales, right? Because we're all in sales, we're all selling something. She's saying, uh, what I didn't realize until just now was that I tend to discount, sometimes deeply discount my services out of fear. Right. So if I'm on in a sales situation with somebody, but I know like, okay, I got payroll coming up. So I need, revenue for that, or I got this happening, so I'll offer a crazy deep discount, um, like out of fear or out of, not knowing how to, um, what to do next about it. And so I'll just do this big discount, but in the long run, that doesn't serve me. And it was so impactful to the entire group because so many of us went, oh my word, I do that too, right? You don't think about it, right? I never thought about it in that way, but I've totally done that. I'm like, you know what? If you bundle more than one book together, that means, more work for me in the long run. So I give them a discount. And the trainer's like, stop that. Right? Yeah, that's fear talking, right? You're doing that out of fear. That's not. doing that you're not living in faith, walking in faith that God's going to provide and in God's abundance and blessing, right? Stop that. I'm like, what a powerful realization, right? And she was felt so connected to our community that it felt safe for her to express something so very vulnerable. And then everyone's in the chat going, oh my goodness, I'm the same way. And what a kind of healing, cool experience as women for us to experience that together in a community setting. So that totally reinforces, that community idea, how important it is for all of us when we're building a business specifically.
So, and this reminds me of one of my favorite manifesting techniques that is a technique specifically for rewiring and reshaping some of the limiting subconscious beliefs that you have. And this is a really fun and high vibe manifesting method. I call it looking for magnetic mirrors. So magnetic mirrors are the kind of people that have either achieved what you aspire to achieve, or they embody some kind of characteristic that you hope to embody, like confidence or whatever it is that you don't have but really want. And so when you seek out women who have done the big scary things, like asking more for their prices, for example, and they can be fictional characters, they can be, you can read their books, they could be thought leaders, influencers, they can be people that you know in person, but the more that you can relate with their background and their story and observe what they're doing, it helps to reprogram your subconscious mind that it is possible for you too. And I have had so many huge miracles and breakthroughs from intentionally seeking out the magnetic mirrors who I know and meeting with them in person. That's how I was able to go out and business on my own and start my first real estate firm slash business brokerage, from reaching out to a magnetic mirror and saying, "Hey, I'm ready to leave this business I'm with," and then he extended the offer of starting a new one with him. I never would have thought that I could start my own business, but I reached out to a magnetic mirror and they gave me that opportunity. I had the same thing happen with a magnetic mirror who I observed. She's a woman real estate investor, and I wanted to spend my time with her so that I could reprogram my subconscious to see that I can invest in real estate and be a single young woman. And
Mhm.
from that relationship came my first podcast. So, there's just so
Yeah.
much that can come from that. But also, when you're in a mastermind group, or if you're in a community where there are other awesome women just inherently around, it's going to positively influence your subconscious mind as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Plus, just well, relationship equity, which isn't my word. One of the ladies at the retreat I was just at in June used it. She's like, I keep coming back here every year. I think it's for like fifth year or something in this mastermind. I'm here because of the relationship equity that builds with these other amazing women over time as we get to know each other. We become invested in each other, right? And we're pretty soon not only are we surrounding ourselves with other like-minded women, but we're all helping each other level up, right? You see someone else do something really amazing, have some amazing breakthrough, and you're like wanting it more, right? So we lean into each other, we lift each other up, and it's not just a woman thing. It just happens that I'm in a women's mastermind this year. I've been in other situations where it was, mixed men and women, but this has been super powerful because women think a little differently and it's faith based. So for me, that's super important. So my alignment isn't just in that we're all entrepreneurs, right? But my alignment is in that we're all faith based, right? We all serve the same God, and we speak the same language, if you will. So it's been really impactful. So I love that you offer a group community idea. I think it's what's missing for so many people, especially in the solopreneur world, right? We're in these little silos. Uh, you work alone, you live alone, you're right. Pretty soon you're like just alone. It can be very isolating and feel like a solo endeavor, or it can be lonely,
Yes.
right?
Uh, yes, and I think at the root of women are who were generally successful in the past, they go out to start their own business. And part of that success in the past was having an attachment to their value, being attached to how much money they make or how productive they
Mhm.
are, or something that really isn't the truth, that's running the show and helping them have that success in a career.
Mhm.
And they go out on their own and they don't get that same feedback. They don't
Right.
realize that, hey, it's a few years for a business to be profitable. So they start to
Right.
spiral fast because they don't.
Mhm.
That's basically bringing forth that inner belief that my value is attached to my productivity or my
Mhm.
income. And they're forced to have to face that real fast. And I like to be
Mhm.
the one there to, if they're ready and willing, to start to work
Right.
through some of that crap so they can keep leveling up. And I love what you mentioned too about the reason that you joined the group you're in. There's some overlap between our values and the communities and the people that you and I
Mhm.
specifically are called to work with. Mine is specifically soul called entrepreneurs. So women who've started a business because it is their soul's calling, because I
Mhm.
feel like there has to be that extra layer. And you're not just doing this business because it's what will make your parents proud, or you're not doing this
Right.
business just solely for the money. You're doing it because your soul is requesting this of you. And once again, that
Mhm.
goes back to that faith-based, God-based
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
belief system or foundation. And once again, that the community is just critical for us goal
Mhm.
getter women to be able to get through some of the stuff that comes up when we go out on our own in
Mhm.
business.
Yep. And we all need a guide, right? We all need somebody always saying, everyone I talk to about writing their book, don't try to do it alone, right? Hire a professional, hire somebody, right? That's why I don't do my own podcast. I have, John, my producer, is doing or his company's doing my show because I'm not the professional. Hire a professional, right? If you need somebody to help you start up a business and, you need those things, hire Morgan, hire somebody, right? Don't try and just figure it out on your own or make it up as you go. Hire a professional and lean into what they have to offer you. So we're
100%.
running out of time, my friend, but I want to give you just a minute to say, how can people reach out to you? How can people connect with you to see if you guys are a good fit to work together?
So you can go to morganmanifest.com/free to book a call. Let's just meet and connect
Mhm.
and see if we vibe. You can also find my new Facebook group. It is called the Soul Called Collective. So if you are a
Ooh,
mission
I
led,
like that.
purpose driven woman in business, uh, come join this group. There'll be lots of value for you, and it's another way to stay connected as well.
I love that. I love that. I started a brand new Facebook community as well recently. I'm super excited about the community that's happening in there. So that's a great place for people to connect with you. All right, we are out of time, my friend, but thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life to be on the show. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. All right, guys, if you are in that space where you are looking for someone to help you, reach out to Morgan. I know that she can, women specifically, of course, she works with women. I know that she can help you get on track. Now, if you heard me talk about it earlier and you were curious, yes, the retreat is coming up in September. It is a writer's retreat for women. So you can go to clararose.com and / women's writers retreat, and you can, or craftingyourmessage.com / women's writers retreat, or you can hop on our Facebook page and check us out there. Click on the link and get registered for this retreat. 3 days, getting your book started, learning about self publishing, learning about your book proposal, everything you need to know to get your book out of your head. All right, I'm out of time, friends. I'll see you same time next week. Take care.